Good evening, I'm Lauren Egger.
And I'm Maddie Olson.
And for this month, we're representing Hempfield Happenings, a student-run news show from the communications program at Hempfield High School.
This month's news show is filled with a diverse group of people and stories, going from a special Valentine's Day celebration, then into a look into the history of the Fulton Theater, as well as an exploration of the benefits of dual enrollment, and the telling of a student's unique life.
Stay tuned for this month's episode of Hempfield Happenings. The Fulton Theater is reportedly the oldest working theater in America, making it packed with history and stories to tell, a task Colson Hunt chose to tackle this month.
The Fulton Theater is a historic landmark here in Lancaster, but there's more to this building than just the actors and a stage.
We are not just a producing house that produces 6 main stage shows every year. We don't just do that. I literally feel like any member of our community could come to the front door of our building and say, "What do you have for me?" And we would have something for them.
When you're coming to the Fulton, I think you're seeing a Broadway caliber show at least half the cost.
Along with their high-quality productions, the Fulton Theater is known for its illustrious history.
So the Fulton was built in 1852. It was called the Fulton Hall, and before that, on this site was Lancaster County's first prison. And the prison was demolished and Fulton Hall was built. And at that time, the community really needed a place where they could have large gatherings. The only places that large groups could get together would be churches. And there's lots of needs a community has that aren't necessarily like a religion-based need.
We've been everything from a shooting gallery. We stored manure at one point. We had a saloon on the top floor. On this site, a number of different things have happened, but as a venue, there's a lot of history that comes along with this. We are also on the National Historic Landmark list, so what you see now is preserved for as long as can be.
With such a unique history, many stories have been passed down from generation to generation. Stories that may seem a bit supernatural.
I know about the one ghost who wears a 3-piece white suit and he whistles like on the lights in the theater, like just in like the gallery. People
have said they've seen a woman named Marie Cahill who performed here in the late 1800s. They've seen her roaming the theater itself.
I was once in a dressing room and I'm working on a wig and there's a mirror in front of me. And I see something pass in the hallway, and there was no one in the hallway. So I was like, huh, and I just continued with my work.
People in Lancaster are really lucky to have the Fulton so close to them.
Theater is a vital art form to a community as a whole because it's a collective meeting place for a group of people to sort of share a communal experience that can only be shared once.
Whether you are a theater enthusiast, a studying historian, or a ghost hunter, the Fulton Theater is sure to entertain you. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Colson Hunt.
Along with historical value, the Fulton Theater provides exceptional performances for their audiences, much like Hempfield High School was able to do in this year's musical, Mary Poppins.
For the last 30 years, Hempfield's choral program has flourished under Dr. Alan Mudrick. But as this is his last year before retiring, let's take a look into this cornerstone in Hempfield's community.
First musical here was The Music Man. We did that in 1990, my first year here. This is a very successful run. We did it right here on Hackman Auditorium stage before we had the Performing Arts Center.
While it's hard to imagine Hempfield High School without the Performing Arts Center, It wasn't actually finished until 1996.
Our first production in there was The Pirates of Penzance by Gilbert and Sullivan.
And while these old shows were successful, Dr. Mudrick has his own choice adjective for them.
It was rough.
But through thick and thin, something has kept him going.
It boils down to the students. Students make the production wonderful. It's seeing that aha moment of getting something that they never would have experienced before. That's a joy for us.
Although students play a large part in the inspiration of Dr. Mudrick's career, his impact on students might be yet more profound.
Dr. Mudrick has really just been a musical inspiration. You know, he's the reason I want to minor in music.
He's really inspired me to go further in my music performance, and whether it be music festivals or the musical, he's always pushing us to do our hardest and our best.
And to these students, he gives a parting message.
Follow what your career path is because you love it. Try to find something that you love and stick with it and develop it, cultivate it, make it who you are. It's a challenge to be a performing artist, but if that's something you want to do, you should go for it with all the gusto you want and be ready to work hard for it.
Over his 35 years here at the high school, Dr. Mudrick has played a pivotal role in not only our musicals, but also in the lives of students. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Connor Sensenig.
School musicals aren't the only time the students get to have fun and dance. School dances have been a staple in school entertainment for decades.
Tonight, Centerville Middle School is hosting their annual Valentine's Day dance in this gym. But what exactly is the importance in having these dances occur every year?
School dances date all the way back to the early 20th century and have remained a tradition for schools ever since. Centerville Middle School dances start at the front door where students pay $5 for entry. From there, they can proceed to the gymnasium. And the gym is where the DJ is set up as well as all the lights. This is where the fun happens.
You get this core group of people who will kind of stay in the middle and dance and kind of congregate. And then you get people who dance for some songs, but not all songs.
While the dances may be all fun and games for most students, there's always a deeper meaning behind them.
Our students received $1 off the dance ticket if they brought in a canned good. We have free snacks, pretzels and some juice. We have fundraisers where we try to raise money by selling carnations or glow sticks.
There's much more to the dances than just students jumping around and a DJ playing loud music.
We like to support students socially and emotionally. It gives them a chance to build friendships and have a good time outside of the academics that we provide here at school.
It gives our kids a chance to come back and see us as teachers outside of the classroom. I just think it's about us being a community. Like, we're Centerville Middle School, but we're a community of people who are always at different parts of the building. So when we get a social event like a school dance, students and teachers together are kind of in one place, just being happy, a chance to talk, socialize, maybe move to the music a little bit. It's always just a fun 2 hours. I mean, the time flies by usually.
Dances have been a successful tradition for schools and they don't appear to be going away anytime soon. They serve as a social outlet for students as well as a way for students to come together and build a stronger community. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Zach Rhoda.
Valentine's Day not only brought together Centerville students, it also united the students at East Petersburg Elementary School in their plan to give special presents to their Valentines.
1, 2, 3.
Out in these empty halls of East Petersburg Elementary School, it may seem like just any other school day. But inside the classroom, students are in full swing preparing for Valentine's Day. In just a few days, cards like these will be gifted away to show great compassion in the hearts of students and staff.
We wanted to do a collaboration to get our community involved and get our students involved with the community and work with children and adults that have special needs.
6 years ago, Accentia, an assisted living facility for adults with special needs, paired with East Petersburg Elementary School to have their students make Valentine's Day cards for Accentia's residents and staff.
We try to do as much community outreach as we can and working with the students to facilitate instruction in the community and also interact with members of the community.
The kids can also give back too and kind of have a moment like that where they can see that their impact is on the community as well.
On Valentine's Day, the Life Skills class and Accenture residents went around to all the classrooms to collect their cards. The cards were exchanged during a party between the Life Skills students and Accenture residents. However, cards weren't the only thing being exchanged that day, as both participants shared memories and created friendships to last a lifetime.
Here, Deontay, let our guests in.
Yes.
From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Hannah Morris.
East Peak Elementary also made another positive impact on the community by recently winning a state award.
There marks a new chapter here in East Pete, where they've just been recognized on a state level for reading and science.
We were notified by the Pennsylvania Department of Education that we as a school was one of 158 Title I schools to be recognized for high progress, being within the top 5% of the state in terms of our progress for our students. I was elated, and truly it was just really thinking about my staff and students. They work so hard on a daily basis, and I could not be more proud to be the leader of our school, but really the kudos goes to the hard work that our teachers put in day out.
So you need math book, math folder, pencil, eraser, and then stretch break.
I think in our district we have so many caring teachers that put their heart and soul into helping children achieve success in the classroom. It's not just a job for us, it's actually our mission to make sure that every student achieves success as a learner. I've been teaching for 23 years, so the requirements of the children, the curriculum is definitely different than it was when I started. We're expecting more of our children academically. I would say that they're meeting the challenge, and we have a lot of people involved in supporting them wherever the learners are in their journey of education.
The staff at East Pete plan to carry their success over to future years in hopes of national recognition. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ethan Miller.
Okay, hi, I'm Casey Kreider. I'm here with Hempfield Happenings for this month, and this month for our studio interview, we are interviewing Mrs. Hoover, the Assistant Superintendent. How are you doing today, Mrs. Hoover?
I'm doing great, thanks.
All right,
nice to
so
be here.
My first question for you is, how did you get to this point? What led you to come to the Hempfield School District? How were your previous teaching roles involved in that?
So I began my teaching career, my official teaching career, in the Westchester School District. After I graduated from college from Westchester, I actually stayed there and taught in the Westchester School District in the elementary schools for 6 years. I then moved to Lancaster County, where I taught in several school districts, including Lancaster City and Manheim Township, and then in those roles I also was a teacher as well as an administrator. And then I had the wonderful experience of coming to the Hempfield School District as the principal of Mountville Elementary, where I spent 4.5 years, and now I am very lucky to be in the role of Assistant Superintendent for Hempfield.
Okay. What is the overall impact that you hope to have on the school district, and how will you improve the school district as a whole?
What I hope to do as Assistant Superintendent is really the same goal as I had when I was a teacher, which is to impact student success, make sure that opportunities are afforded to all of our students, kindergarten through 12th grade, and that when they leave here, they always know that they had a wonderful experience here at Hempfield and we prepared them for their future.
Okay, so it's always important for administrators to be able to facilitate the communication between parents and teachers and students and administrators alike. How will you work to help improve that communication between all parties?
Well, one of the things that I'm excited about is our comprehensive plan, and one of our goal areas is actually parent communication and communication among all stakeholders. So I will continue and work very hard with our staff to make sure that they're communicating with parents and community members and our students, and then even that facilitation of collaboration between teacher and student and between students and students, as well as bringing opportunities for families to engage in all of the experiences that Hempfield has to offer.
Yeah, that sounds great. So you'll be working with Dr. Muster as your other assistant superintendent. How will you two work together to help bring a unified vision to the school district?
So our vision in our new comprehensive plan is actually personal growth, achievement, and success for everyone. And Dr. Musser and I really work together on everything. We share curriculum together, kindergarten through 12th grade. We collaborate on a daily basis. We are bringing different groups of people together to have conversation and make sure that we are continuing to make sure that vision comes alive and that we are continuing to play out that vision with the opportunities and experiences that we're creating.
Yeah. So overall, what are the goals that you two collectively have to help improve the school district as a whole and really kind of make your mark on this school district?
We really are taking a close look at our teaching and learning experiences. We're looking at all of the things, that skills needed for students to be successful in whatever pathway they choose, but they can also look back and say that they had every opportunity afforded to them that they needed in order to make the decisions they made for their future.
Okay, and to kind of wrap everything up, what do you want the people who are watching this who may not know a lot about you, what do you want them to take away from this interview, and how will you help to ensure that their students are being cared for in the proper ways?
I want them to understand that I am invested in the school district. My children go to the school district. We live here. We are very involved in the community. And I want them to know that I want what is best for all students so that they can be successful and they can do what they aspire to do moving forward.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Mrs. Hoover. I really appreciate it. And I know I probably speak on behalf of all of us when I say that we're excited to see what you bring to the school district as our assistant superintendent.
Thank you. I'm always excited to be here.
Thank you.
Student athletes are also making an impact by coaching youth feeder programs.
Here at Hempfield, being part of an athletic team is more than just playing the sport.
It's about volunteering in the community as well.
It's been going on for at least 5 years. 6 years ago when I started as the athletic director here, and I met with the coaches, we felt it would be a great way for our athletic teams to have an impact on the community, the school system, and also the teams themselves, providing a servant mindset, being able to go out and serve people in the community would strengthen them as a team. As many of our teams also help out with the feeder programs, which sometimes they'll do that in addition to another community service project.
And then as I go out here, I'm going toward my teammate.
I went to a practice of one of these feeder programs to see what impact the high school players have.
I think the youth kids get a lot out of it because no matter what we old-time coach, quote-unquote old-time coaches say, we can say things 100 times, 100 different ways. And the kids absorb it a little bit, but it's amazing how much they, as soon as the high school kids say some of the same things, they embrace it a lot sooner.
I think that's great because I think that to the elementary school students, our high school athletes, they're rock stars. I mean, they're really a big deal. And for our athletes to take the time out to go work with them, it really gives the elementary school students a lot of energy. And also, particularly when they're good role models, it shows them what they need to do in order, as far as work ethic and as far as how they have to act to be a successful student athlete.
I think any kind of mentoring program, whether it's sports or band or whatever the activity, I think it's vital. You're showing the young kids the path that they want to take theoretically to where they might want to be.
Opportunities to coach at youth programs not only helps the younger kids learn, it also leaves the high schoolers with a good feeling. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Jace Gibbons.
The high school's athletic program has taken great steps to help better the futures of the beginning athletes, but many of those high school athletes have to take a look at their own futures coming up to signing day.
Next up is Darian Wrestler.
Many high school athletes dream of one day getting to play their sport in college. But how do they get to that point, and who helps them along the way? The end of the process comes on National Signing Day, where athletes like Darian sign letters of intent for the college of their choice.
Shippensburg had a great family connection. I got a nice family vibe there that I got at Hempfield. Also, I have track as an option going into Shippensburg, which I enjoy doing as well as football. And originally I hoped to go to college for track, so it's just a benefit.
Another important step is getting a college coach's attention. High school coaches like George Egger use their experience to help get eyes on their players.
I think the first thing that we do to help anybody is to teach you the fundamentals and techniques to be successful. You know, everybody thinks that They see football on Sunday and think that they can do that, but there's a lot of time and effort that goes into it. What I try to do is anybody that I talk to that I know as a college coach, I mention people that I think will be good people and players for their program. So a guy like Darian, I did reach out to all my collegiate friends.
One way for students to get involved is to create and share a highlight tape of their best plays throughout the season.
We film every game. Students can go on and they can watch the plays, and they can log their highlights. And by logging their highlights, they can make a highlight video. And then from there, to be dead honest, a lot of it's on them in terms of putting it out on the internet and sending it to coaches.
Made highlights for Huddle, and I published them, and some coaches from colleges look at them.
Even though the process of finding the right college is difficult, the payoff is worth it for the athletes involved. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ben Marinas.
While students are continuing their search into colleges, the dual enrollment program has been helping them to prepare by granting them college credits through local colleges while still attending high school.
Yeah, no problem.
This is Bella Schwalm. She is a junior at Hempfield High School who works at Crusoe's, takes AP classes, is involved with many extracurriculars, and is able to make a little extra time for all of this because of dual enrollment.
So basically I go to school for 3 periods and then I get out at 12. And on Monday, Wednesday I go to class from 12:30 to 1:45, and the other days I just get out 12 and have time to myself. So some of the days I work, some of the days maybe I catch up on homework or go to the gym, and then later that day I would go back for track or dance theater.
There are many things students should take into consideration before deciding whether dual enrollment is a good fit for them.
Dual enrollment is an off-campus learning opportunity where students can go. We partner with 7 local colleges. Students can go to the college and take courses at the college. The colleges we partner with are Harrisburg Area Community College, the Lancaster campus, Millersville, Elizabethtown College, Penn State York, PA College of Health Sciences, Lancaster Bible College, and Thaddeus Stevens.
One thing students considering this program should remember is that there is a monetary component.
Dual enrollment does come with a cost, but compared to what an actual college class would cost, it's very low. And it's nice because you're getting the credits for like 2 to 3 times less the price you would have to pay at a university.
A majority of the courses are 50% reduction of tuition. So what a student who is like a first-year student in college might pay, it's 50% less than that.
There is a variety of courses students can take through this program.
So students can take anything. Any general education course that does not require a prerequisite, because you're getting elective credit here and will pretty much accept most courses. To get the most out of this opportunity, you really should have a good idea of what you want to do when you graduate. Because if you want to continue going on to school, the idea would be to have these credits that you're earning at the college, because you're starting your college transcript, to have these credits transfer into your college you're going to and save you some money, maybe.
I would definitely recommend it. I love the extra time I have. I get leverage on my other classes. I have time to come to work, like do other extracurriculars that I maybe wouldn't have. And I know for people with sports, and like I know I'm doing dance theater right now, it's really hard with the long practices. So the extra time plays a big role in keeping your grades up and getting to do everything you want to.
Although dual enrollment is not the best option for every student, it's easy to see that for some it can be very beneficial. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Paige Gruber.
The Interesting Lives of Students also includes the one-of-a-kind story of Danielle Lichi.
Danielle Lichi, a 17-year-old senior at Hempfield High School, grew up just as any other teenager, with one exception.
Every morning, Danielle wakes up, does her morning routine, eats breakfast, and says goodbye to her parents before leaving to school. Her parents, Edward and Juanita Lichi, are both deaf, and their daughter Danielle grew up having to learn and use ASL, or American Sign Language, to communicate with them.
So Danielle, can you sort of just tell me what it was like being able to learn and use sign language at a young age?
I grew up with my parents, obviously, and my younger brother, who's 10 years old. My mom was not born deaf, but my dad was. When she was younger, she was in a accident, a heat accident, and her ears just closed up and didn't really work. So when I was young, ASL was just part of my life. It wasn't it wasn't really anything like different, because you know how like younger kids with parents who don't speak English, like, it's just like a part of their life. So it wasn't really anything different for me, although I didn't talk that much when I was younger, because I would just use ASL to communicate with my parents, and when my brother wasn't here, because I'm obviously older than him, it was just different.
Being deaf enabled Danielle's father, Edward, to meet his now wife, Juanita, in what seemed like fate.
I went to a deaf school in Washington, D.C. called Model Secondary School for the Deaf, and I met my wife there. We were mutual friends and hadn't been dating. One year, she eventually left for school in Virginia. Over time, I remembered her and kept in touch. When we graduated, I would visit her in Virginia. Then eventually, after a couple years, she became my girlfriend, and we fell in love, and now here we are.
Babies as young as 6 to 7 months old can remember a sign, according to experts. By 8 months, children begin to sign single words and imitate gestures, and by 24 months, children can sign compound words and full sentences.
When she was little, around a few months old, she was learning very basic little words. When she turned 1 or 2, her vocabulary would increase. Most of our family is deaf, and we're all equal.
According to the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, approximately 2 to 3 in every 1,000 children born in the United States suffer from hearing loss in one or both ears. But this didn't stop Danielle's parents from being able to raise 2 kids.
I just didn't feel really any different from like people, because I don't know, I just feel like I had the same childhood as everyone else, like, because like when I grew up, like everyone just welcomed me like really like kindly, and like were really welcoming, and like I just didn't feel apart from anyone, and they still thought it was cool that my parents knew ASL, but I just feel like, I don't know, the only thing different about like my childhood is probably just like, I guess like my speech, because I still feel like I like don't talk well like right now, because I never really had like a speech therapist.
Sometimes there were words more difficult for Danielle to sign. Sometimes words don't have designated signs and you have to fingerspell. It was easy to confuse words that has signs rather than fingerspelling them. For the most part, she was very good with sign. I don't feel there is a real difference between hearing and deaf people. You can teach through sign, and there is no real difference or hardships.
Though you may consider her situation extraordinary, Danielle considers it her everyday life. Her story is only one of many unique situations around the world. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Lance Kim.
Danielle Lichi has a truly unique story that stands out amongst the already extraordinary student body at Hempfield.
To hear more of the student stories along with other interesting reports, come back next month for our new episode.
Until then, this has been Lauren and Maddie for Hempfield Happenings.
Thanks for watching.